what's the difference between wrapping a Model Y Premium and a Model Y Standard? Let's get wrapping. So in this video, we're gonna cover about some of the key exterior differences that you see on a Model Y Standard and the Model Y Premium. And there is another variant that we don't actually have here yet. It is the Performance. And the Performance also has exterior differences in the bumper and the rear bumper. So we're not gonna talk about that, but I want to talk about in the wrapping point of view, what is gonna change and what we're gonna be doing, right? So first off, the key difference is right here. There is a light bar that goes all the way here. You see that right there? And this is not an actual headlight, it is an actual daytime running light. So this looks kind of cool. It kind of has a Cybertruck look like right here, right? But this makes it actually easier to wrap because you actually don't have as much of a lip. So you don't have to aggressively stretch across it and go all the way up. So on an older Model 3, or an older Model Y, that lip was a little bit longer, which makes it a little bit harder, meaning you have to stretch across a little bit more, because when you stretch that material like paint protection film, it kind of goes into that area once you shrink it. So this is a big difference right here. And you can see right here, instead of the light bar that used to be right here, it just goes straight up. So when you actually stretch across here, you can see, and let's get all the way here and get this angle, it goes like this, and it almost goes in like a, I don't know what degree that is. That's more than a 45. So it's like a 65 degree. Trying to do math now, right? So like a 65 degree angle that goes like that, which does make it hard. You stretch it across and it kind of goes right in there. But I think that will make it a little bit harder, but honestly, not that much harder. Here's where it gets a little bit easier. This is crazy flat right here. So we're gonna have like a partial PPF that just goes in this flat area because there's gonna be a lot of bugs that are gonna die right here in this bumper right here today. So a lot of bug guts and all this stuff is gonna just like stick right there because it's so flat. Very, very similar to like the Cybertruck. I mean, it's so like, it's crazy. And then you look at the Model Y Juniper, it is a lot more concave. And here's another big difference right here. Look at this giant tow hook cover right here. And then I want to show you, kind of come around here. Look at this. So first of all, come around the same angle so we can show you, right? You got this smaller tow hook. It is on the same side. And then look at that concave. You see what I'm saying? So it's a little bit different, but you see what I'm saying about all these bugs, right? This is really, really dirty. But that is a key difference right here. Here's another part that makes the Model Y, this is where the Model Y Standard is going to be easier. So on the Model Y Premium, this part is quite hard because one, there's not a whole lot of material. So in our kits, when we design it, you had to really use some hot water or some heat or just stretch, and you have to really stretch it in here. And this valley makes it quite challenging if you think about it. Okay, you got to let it rest all the way in there and then connect with the other piece right there. So that's what makes it hard. And then you got, this is the actual headlight compared to, on that one, this is the actual headlight. So the housing is the same, but the actual what's inside it is actually different because this is, again, a daytime running light, and this is actually a headlight. You see the headlight is exactly the same, but again, this is a headlight, not a daytime running light. And then instead of it going into this valley and all that, there's no valley. So this makes it so easy. A very, very minimal amount of stretch. This is relatively flat for a wrapper. So this makes it so much easier when we kit it. So this is gonna be fairly simple in my opinion. It's gonna be actually, I think if I were to rate between the two, I would definitely rate this a lot easier. The difficult part, like I said, is gonna be right here because it does go a little bit higher up, but this makes up for it. And this is so easy. And look at this. This is like, it goes all the way in. There's actually, goes all the way in. Oh yeah, it goes all the way out. And then this is like super flat. And then it's just about like a 1/4 inch over that. And that's pretty much it. So lastly, in this part of the section, it's relatively the same because if you look right here, it's about the same and it goes into this wheel well area, this trim right here. So it's about the same on the sides, but I would highly say this part is going to be a piece of cake, relatively flat, almost no stretch needed. There is a little bit of a little aggressive body line right there, but honestly, that's really not going to be a problem, especially for a PPF. So Now we're in the back, and we're gonna kind of go back and forth because the car is actually parked. We're waiting for some stuff to be happening in the registration side while we pick this car up. So I'm gonna talk about everything that's different right here and what's difficult or what's easy, and then let's go to the Juniper Premium, or that's a launch, which is a premium all-wheel drive, and then we can talk about that as well. So first off, this hatchback is different. So on the Juniper Premium, it's an actual separate piece that goes like that. This one is one piece just like the older Model Y. The only difference is the older Model Y actually went like scoop down like this and then go with the actual tail lights. This one does not do that because this is not an older legacy Model Y. So this is a key difference. It's really not going to change that much. I think the Juniper is actually easier in that case, in some cases, because it's a shorter wingspan and it kind of stops right here. But now you have to make sure that all of that is wrapped in one piece. So if you are gonna do one piece, you have to stretch it across pretty aggressively because this is really, really aggressive. And then after that, once you stretch it, you gotta make sure you also cover the top side. So this is gonna be a little bit harder, in my opinion. So the other changes here in terms of wrapping is this right here. This is a rear bumper. They're separated comparatively to the older Model Y Legacy. But the difference here is right up here. So up here, it goes straight up because this is actually where the reflective panel used to be on the Premium, which I'll show you in a second. So it goes a little bit up. So the design doesn't change. I wouldn't say it's easier or harder. You just have a little bit more material to deal with up here. And then same thing up here. It actually goes higher up, all the way up here. And that also doesn't change that much. All it is literally just goes slightly up. As long as there's a little bit of stretch, it is a concave that goes right here. This is going to be a piece of cake as well. Another difference right here, this is going to be a soft corner now instead of a much more aggressive corner. So it's going to go down like this, and it doesn't stay flush with the rear bumper as well. It's now kind of goes all the way down, all the way to that. So that's basically the difference. Let me show you the Model Y Premium. You can actually see this is a separate piece. And this is a plastic piece, as you kind of hear that. And this is kind of genius, I think, because so many people would chip this top part. Actually, we fixed several of them while we're wrapping it because of this issue. They accidentally open up their trunk hatch while their garage was open or something like that, and then they chip right here. So what they ended up doing is they made this a separate piece and then basically connected it with bolts. It's actually like 4 bolts and then a bunch of clips. So this is separate. Wrapping it is very, very similar, but this to me makes it slightly easier, mainly because of the fact that we can basically, we don't have to worry about all this top part, right? So I think this is easier, and then you could do this as a separate piece. You're working with a smaller piece instead of one giant piece, so that also makes it easier. So I would say the Premium is easier in that case. So, and this part right here, I told you right here, it goes all the way up into here because this light stops right there. So the light is actually easier from the standard, mainly because there's less material. However, it actually cuts right here, right? It kind of goes like this, a little angled. But then this will have a little bit more material up there. So it doesn't make it easier or harder. Honestly, it's about the same. Again, like I said over there, basically same thing, but just a little bit more material. Same thing with this one. You can kind of already see that it starts to go up with this body line. So that's about the change, right? So instead of having this little scoop, it goes all the way and just goes straight up. Doesn't change much, actually. And then this is a little bit more of an aggressive. It's flushed right here. That one actually goes underneath the bumper and actually has a more scooped instead of a little hard corner like that, right? So that's typically the difference. But honestly, other than that, you see all this part of the car, everything else is the same. I mean, the mirrors are the same, the fenders are the same, the hood is the same, and nothing really changes other than those things. So that's one of the things that we first look at whenever we pick up a car. What are the differences? What are things we need to redesign? So I'm really glad that we don't have to redesign everything, but I'm also, I mean, it's still gonna be a little bit, right? Like the bumper is gonna be definitely different, but I don't think it'll be that big of a change for us. So hopefully that helped you guys. If you're a wrapper or if you're a DIY, you're excited about protecting or customizing your car, hopefully that helped you kind of understand some of the differences in wrapping between the standard and the Premium. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments below. We're gonna finish picking up this car. See ya.